You do not have a piece of paper to take notes on, no electronic notes. And there's a reason for this. If you don't have a piece of paper, she's going to hand you one with a pen. And I'm going to teach you really quick something that I teach everybody that I talk to. You're going to take your piece of paper, and this is going to be a horrible drawing of a piece of paper right now.
So what do we call you?
Oh, my name is Darrell Sean Price. I will give you my name. But I'm not giving you anything else until the end of this presentation, and there's a reason for that. So take your piece of paper, and I want you to do this. Your left 2/3 here, you're going to keep blank for right now. You're going to put a line separating it so that you've got 1/3 on the right, 2/3 on the left. As I'm asking you questions today, as I'm getting answers from you, as I'm getting you to dig into who you are in your business, you write your answers to those here. That other third is because I'm going to be asking you to get very vulnerable today. And as I ask you to get vulnerable, I promise you, you are going to be inspired by something. It may not even be a word I say. It might be just a thought that hits you. It might be a feeling you have at a crucial moment. That's what you're writing right here. That inspiration of, I really need to do this. I can feel it. Oh, I know I'm being called to do this thing. That's what's on that third. Then when you go back and review what happened today, you're going to look at that little third column and remind yourself who you are. And that's really what I want to talk about today. The power of you in your business. As Jolene pointed out, the name of our company is You-Centered Living for a reason. And we have a mantra we live by. There is nothing greater than the power of you. And we're talking not just you in a moment. We're talking about your higher self. There's this piece of you that is so divine and so connected to the universe beyond what you see and feel in a moment, that when you are in tune with and true to that higher self, you naturally create your happiest life. Not only that, you become a miracle maker. How many of you, in different opportunities, maybe you're sitting in a networking meeting, and it's that one person that always seems to be succeeding at everything. They come in and they're like, wow, yeah, I just got 5,000 new clients this week. I'm going to be on a TV show. Guess what else? I'm now going to open up 4 more branches. And there seems success falls in their lap. Do you know that person? Yes? I see heads nodding. How many of you have met someone like that? How many of you want to be that person? There you go. Okay, I'm going to teach you today how to be a miracle maker in your business. By the time we're done, you are going to know the very next step you need to take when you walk out of these doors to start that happening for you in your business. Are you willing to go on that journey with me?
Yes, sure.
Well, I didn't hear that.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm going to start with a quick story about how I found my passion. So I have been divorced now since the year 2010, so I think that's going on 8 years. Yep, 8 years now. And I tell people that divorce was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me. Because I got to find myself behind all of the garbage that I had put on me. All of the things I should have been in other people's eyes. All of the expectations I didn't live up to that weren't mine. And as I started to find myself, I went back to school. Because what else are you going to do, right? So I started taking a master's in counseling. And the classes were okay. What?
Counseling?
In counseling, yes. Counseling and psychology. The classes were okay. It was fun to learn about the human brain. And oh, now I get why my sister says that all the time. I can go pick on her for it. Because I learned why she does that. Then I took an elective course. It was an elective course in life coaching. And I started to really get inspired. And I had this woman who has been a coach now for 45 years, very successful one. She works specifically with female entrepreneurs in Georgia, who became my mentor. And when you take this course, you got assigned a mentor. And I started talking to her. She put it this way. Counselors, psychologists, therapists, it is their job to do this. They open up the closet where you hold all your skeletons, And they pull each one out one by one and throw them at you until you deal with them. Oh, no, I'm sorry, your dad once called you stupid. Let's deal with that one now. It is a life coach's job to say, here's where you are. Here's where you want to be. Okay, how do we build that bridge? Maybe you might need to pull out a skeleton and deal with it, but if you don't. And that really hit me. I said, you know, when I was a kid, there were 3 things I wanted to do with my life. Number 1, I was going to be the next Billy Joel. I wrote songs all day, every day. I'd come home from school, I'd lock myself in my room, I'd write songs, I'd come out, I'd eat dinner, go back in my room, write more songs. I just knew it. I knew that sometime, even before I got out of high school, I'd be discovered and I'd be the next superstar. Any of you ever bought any of my multi-million-dollar albums?
Almost.
Almost, okay. Thank you. Okay. Second thing I wanted to do, I was going to be an actor. I starred in all the high school musicals. I actually went to BYU, majored in musical dance theater, got told by one of the VIP alumni of the theater department I was one of the best actors who've ever come through that department, and I've never done anything with it since. Or never did anything with it since.
You're doing it right now.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think I'm putting on an act.
But I'm just saying, you know how to present, and obviously you're using what you found there.
I am. Thank you for pointing that out.
And you're also working in your strength.
Yes, thank you. He is getting to the end of the presentation already. You're jumping ahead here. But number 3, I wanted to inspire people. I was always that kid who loved doing presentations in class. I was always that kid who had to really build up what I was talking to when I presented my group project. Book reports were amazing for me. And of course, most of the kids are rolling their eyes saying, can we just get through with this, please? Really? Do you have to act out the book? But what I loved more than anything else, whether it was singing, whether it was acting, whether it was presenting, is to look out at somebody's eyes and to see a light bulb go off. To feel, wow, I touched a life in some positive way. So as I'm going through my counseling degree, I'm thinking, you know, this life coaching thing feels like it's more for me than let's throw skeletons at people until they deal with them. And I really started to embrace that. So what happened was, because I found a purpose and I found a passion, and I started following it, things started to just magically fall into place for me. At one point, and I remember this tearful phone conversation with my mentor. She was talking about, you know, there's a lot of competition out there. Nowadays you can throw a stone and you're going to hit a life coach somewhere. You are, let's be honest. But she said, I want to tell you something, Daryl. There's always room at the top. And to be at the top of whatever you do, you've got to be in your heart. When your heart is into what you're doing, when you are passionate, when you have purpose, there's always room at the top, no matter what industry you're in. And that's what separates the cream that rises to the top from the rest in any industry.
Kind of like me,
Yeah.
the movie.
Yes, very much so. So I want to introduce you to somebody you may not have met or not have contacted in a long time. And that is your higher self. So there is 2 voices normally that compete. There's our mind and there's our heart. And our heart tells us we're this great, wonderful, awesome thing and the world's amazing and I can just run out and hug people and everything's perfect. And our mind tells us, okay, that's really stupid. You can't do that. You've got to go and pay the bills. You've got to dress like this. You have to act like this. You have to say these things and show up at these places. And they're not always in sync, are they? There is that magical bridge between the 2 of them. That is your higher self. When your mind and your heart are in sync with each other, even as a business owner, that's when magic starts happening. So I want to introduce you to your higher self again. And so this is where we're going to get a little bit vulnerable here. In ancient Cherokee tradition, there is a state of being called Shante Ishta. There is not a translation for it in English, but more or less it means the single eye of the heart. And it is the idea. Shante Ishta. I will write it on the board for you. And yes, you can look it up. There's plenty of videos on it. I've been teaching this concept for a little while here. Shante Ishta. And the implication there is that you are in a state of being where your feelings and your thoughts are in line with each other and in sync with each other. And when you get into that state of being, that is when you are in tune with your higher self. That part of you that connects to a higher power. That part of you that connects you to things beyond what your mortal frame can perceive. So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take your right hand. Everyone, put it on your heart. Now you're going to close your eyes. Take in 3 deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now I want you to think of someone or something you truly appreciate. Now think of someone or something you truly have compassion for. Now think of someone or something you have true gratitude for. Now think of someone or something you truly love. And open your eyes. However you feel right now, however you would describe that, write it down. You just got to know your higher self. That's what it feels like when you're in tune with your higher self. How different would decisions that we make in our businesses be if you were in that state as you made them? Think about that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk to you about what I call being a AAA entrepreneur. And I'm not talking ratings from the Better Business Bureau. This is something about you. Because in your business, as well as life, there is nothing greater than the power of you. And you create your reality. With every word you say, with every thought you think, with every action you take, you create your reality. Now, my challenge to you is as you create in your business, as you start to decide, what is my minimum viable product? Who are my customers? You make those decisions and choices from that state of being in tune with your higher self.
Value-added proposition would be part of that too.
Yes, absolutely it would. Absolutely. So you now know how to get back in touch with your higher self if you're out of touch. If things are panicked, if things feel desperate, if, oh no, I got to hurry up and make some more money, you stop, you get back in that state. And I will tell you, the Cherokee really describe it as being in a state of knowing what is true for you with no judgment of what is right or wrong for anyone else. And I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in the what is right and wrong for other people, even our customers, that we're not in our true selves, our true higher self. So, number 1, this is authenticity. You must be authentic. And from a business standpoint, that means this. You do what you can with what you have from where you are now. You don't represent yourself as something you're not. And I'll tell you, we get caught up in that quite easily. It's so easy as business owners to say, oh yeah, I can do that, and then I'm going to go figure out how later. That's putting the cart before the horse, and you really take a lot of power away. So for you to be truly authentic, in fact, I got an interesting question for you. I wasn't going to ask this, but I ask it a lot. Jillian, you can't answer, obviously. Where does money come from?
Grows on trees.
Everywhere. It grows on trees. Anyone else?
It's imaginary.
It's imaginary.
It's not based on anything.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
there's a difference between money and currency, isn't there?
There could be. It's a lot simpler than you guys are answering. Money comes from other people's bank accounts.
Oh, of course.
It does. You get money from their bank accounts because you give them value. That's it. But here's the reality.
Oh, revenue.
Exactly. If you are not authentic, you are not valuable. The true value in your company, in what you offer, in your product, in your services, is you. What makes, for example, I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Ron. What makes one accounting firm different than another are the relationships they have with their customers. It's the people. And it really is. And when you start to forget that as a business owner, and I've been there, I've done it the wrong way and forgotten myself. Then the business starts controlling you instead of you controlling the business, and then you're miserable, and then you're lonely, and then you're frustrated, and then you hate going to work every day even though you own the company. Then what have you gained?
Your customers don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. So, here's what I want you to do. And I'm going to get somebody to come up here and write for me because she just has much better handwriting than I do.
Perfect.
Okay, Jolene. And by the way, a partner who fills in the gaps for you, crucial. Absolutely crucial.
Even if it's like
Even if it's right under the
penmanship.
You know what? I will tell you. In fact, if any of you read the little description of today's presentation, there's a typo in there. The reason there's a typo in there, I didn't send it to her before I sent it out like I'm supposed to. That's exactly why there's a typo in there.
I'm married to an editor, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly. I sound great when I'm speaking, but I tell you, when I'm trying to put this stuff into writing, it is like a half-blind monkey eating a rotten banana trying to type out Shakespeare.
Oh, hey.
That's where she comes in. Yeah, exactly. So, here are the questions I want you to ask yourself. And let me tell you, remember that feeling that you wrote down? When we got into that state of Shantishta? When you answer these questions, make sure you feel like that before you answer. But these are the questions I want you to answer on your piece of paper. Number one, what are you good at? And it could be anything. It could be, I am really good at interpretive dance in the bathtub. I don't care. You decide from that place of peace, and I describe it as peace for me because that's what it feels like. When I answer honest questions about myself, I make sure, does that answer make me feel that peace? If it does, that's the right answer for me.
You know, I think one of the neatest ways to find that out is to look back in your life and say, when were you the happiest?
Exactly.
When you find that out, you're going to get real close to the answer to this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for pointing that out. A lot of times, it's when you were a kid and playing. Oh, yeah, I remember I loved whatever that was.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What do you love to do the most? Next question. What is it about you that seems to excite others? Those that know you the best, how would they describe you? Say, oh man, that guy is just awesome at interpretive dance in the bathtub.
Who's gonna know that?
Well, if they know that, that's a whole other story.
Repeat the question. What do others
What?
see in you?
What about you excites others?
Okay.
Next question. We'll make sure we're caught up. Okay, next question is, what is the most difficult part of your company or industry? And you need to be honest with yourself, guys. I cannot tell you how many times, and I have been speaking to entrepreneur groups since about the year 2006, from South Texas all the way up to Utah. I cannot tell you how many times people are not honest on this question. They're like, oh, well, you know, I know that a lot of people in my industry struggle with XYZ, but I don't. Yeah, you do. Be honest. Because until you're authentic, you can't do something to change it. So what is it that is most difficult about your company or industry? What is your personal biggest struggle?
Is that another question of what is your biggest struggle?
It is. Because one is my company and ministry struggles in this area. That's the hardest part of this. Maybe it's knocking doors. The other one is what do I personally struggle the most with? And it may have nothing to do with your company. And then the last question is the most important question about being authentic. And that is, why? Why did you decide to get into this business? You may not have all the answers to these questions right now, and that's okay. But I want you, as you answer these, to truly follow that feeling. For me, the following of the peace. So when I find the right answer, it feels like peace. It feels like I'm in tune with my higher self. I know that's what's right for me. I'm going to share a quick story with you about when I didn't do this. So a few years ago, and God bless Jolene. She has got to be the most wonderful business partner I've ever worked with. She has followed me from one crazy idea to another. Most of them have been phenomenal failures, but she's still been there.
She must be a saint.
Oh, she's more than a saint. But
Virgo,
Few-
born in the year of the dog, and loyal to a fault.
she is loyal to a fault. I will give her that. But let's talk about one of those failures. So a few years ago, we got a bright idea. So we were running a magazine here in Utah called The List. And it became a huge entrepreneurial magazine. It had a lot of resources in there and articles for entrepreneurs. We had big meetups every month and we'd put out a new copy and we'd really highlight different companies throughout the state. It was great. It was awesome. It was amazing. And we thought, there's one thing all these companies and all these entrepreneurs keep asking us for help on. We should start a company that solves that thing and then we'll get lots of money. Anyone guess what that one thing was? What?
Connection with their customers.
Nope. But you're close. And this is not a trick question.
Communication.
What?
Communication.
Nope.
Sales?
Yes.
You struggle with sales?
They did. They were coming to these meetings, but it wasn't just sales. The number one thing they would ask about is say, hey, I hear that lots of people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars marketing on Facebook. We want to know how to do that. So we said, all right, we'll start a Facebook ad agency because everybody wants that. If you give them the solution they want, you get all the money, right? Right? Oh, it's shaking his head. I love it. So, it is not true. Remember the story I told you at the beginning? What was my passion? What was my purpose?
Like coaching.
Yeah, inspiring others. Watching them figure themselves out. Watching them have that light bulb moment, that moment where, yes, things make sense. How much of that do you think happened running Facebook ad campaigns? So, our company went something like this. We would sit down with a client and say, hey, let's talk about your real message. Let's talk about the core of who you are and your company and how valuable it is to people. Oh, that's awesome. We could word it this way. And it sounded great. And they got so excited because they never thought of wording it that way. Hey, we're inspiring others. It's great. Then we'd take all that info. We'd go back to our office. And between me, Jolene, and another partner, it went something like this. Wait, whose turn was it to actually post that ad? I don't know. I don't want to do it. Go tell her to do it. Guess how successful we were? Nothing. We got to do a lot of consulting that we liked, and then we came in and realized all three of us hate Facebook. We don't want to be on it. We don't want to run the ads. We don't want to do all the research into how to actually get the right targets because we hated it. We were not authentic. If you are not authentic, you will fail at anything, not just business. If you are not authentic in relationships, they will fail. If you are not authentic with yourself and your own spirituality, it will fail. There is nothing greater than the power of you. And when you are in tune with and true to your higher self, that's when your happiest life is created, because you will be authentic. You will be showing up with the real value that you have. And it kind of goes into something else I want to talk about. So I'm going to get you to come to this board over here. We're going to switch colors for a second. Okay, so I'm going to have you write vertically the word simple. How many of you would like what you do in business to be simple and just fall into place?
That would be nice.
Okay, only 3 of you. The rest of you, okay, the rest of you can go out there and work hard. Go on. Simple. So here's what it is. And these are the questions I want you to start asking yourself about your business to show that you are showing up in your true value. You are showing up authentically. The S is systems. And already half of you are overwhelmed saying, I don't know how to put a system into play. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. The reality is this. Until you systemize what you do, you're working too hard and not getting enough. It just is. But the question that I want you to ask yourself, and I'm not going to have her write it, you write this down, is when it comes to systems, you stop, take a step back from your business, look at it and say, I want an easy way to blank. That's the system you need to create. I want an easy way to find more clients. Okay, let me find a system that helps me find more clients. Then if I just use the system, it does it. Anytime you feel like I'm not sure how to organize my business, you ask fill in that blank. I want an easy way to blank. Okay, the I, infrastructure. These are all the tools you use to do your job. A camera, for example. Without the right camera, she's not boosting people's confidence. Because she can use words all she wants, but that's not what she does. So, to make sure you have the right infrastructure, and I'll tell you, I've had many, many clients that I've consulted with in their business who get wrapped up in tech. I'm sure you don't know anybody that's like this. But they get so wrapped up in the tech that they're busy spending all their company money on getting the newest, the fanciest, the shiniest, the best working, the fastest, that they don't need. So here's what you're going to do with infrastructure. You are going to say, I want tools that help me blank. You fill in that blank with whatever it is you want. Hey, I want tools that help me automate communication with my customers. Well, then use those tools, not all the other ones. I want tools that help me get my message in front of more audiences. Okay, use those tools. And the ones that work to fill in that blank. Okay, and this is mentors. I will tell you right now, most of my energy and effort in my company is spent public speaking lately. I have a public speaking mentor who gets paid $5,000, $6,000 a speaking gig. I follow what she tells me pretty darn religiously for a reason. So here's the 2. I'm going to give you 2 phrases you want to ask yourself when choosing mentors. Because right now, I'm going to save you $45,000. I can tell you I'm saving you that much because I've spent about $45,000 on programs that are going to get me rich because this person told me to do this and it never worked for me. These 2 phrases are going to save you that money and find you the right mentors. It is, I want to learn blank. Whoever teaches what you fill that blank in with is who you want as your mentor. Not somebody that teaches you a new way to do something else that you don't want. Got it? Second one. I want to be held accountable for blank. And these are the 2 roles I see mentors in. Learning new things, being held accountable from someone who's an expert at something. If it's not filling in those blanks, don't spend money on that mentor. And I promise, and I'm sure most of you are very aware, you get in your news feeds on a regular basis, this next $10,000 program you could sign up for and you could now learn to drop ship shovels to China and make tons of money. Or something like that. If it's not something you want to learn for your business and not something you want to be held accountable for because you know it'll help you, then it's not the mentor for you. P. This is people. Now, let me tell you, we've already kind of touched on key partners. People are an entire network and web in your business.
It's a culture that you're building.
Absolutely. The culture includes the customers. But we're going to put them aside for a second. Because I'm talking about sometimes you just hire someone to do a task because you need that. Sometimes you build a partnership with another organization that does this and you do this and it feeds each other. Sometimes you get a partner. Sometimes you just hire an employee. However the people fit in is up to you. But this is the blank I want you to fill in when you're thinking about this. I want someone who can blank. I want someone who can make my writing not sound like a retarded monkey. L. Yes.
Okay. People, I want someone who can. But how would you go about finding that someone who can?
Ah, we'll get to that in just a second. You're two steps ahead of me.
Because that is my
Good.
want.
Good. And I will tell you how in 2 steps. Bear with me, we're getting to it. But beautiful question. Okay, L. L is love. And this is the heart of your business. Doing what you love. If you start a company because you love that industry and end up doing nothing but the bookkeeping and sales all the time, are you happy?
Yeah, I like it.
If you love.
Well, if that's what you love. So, this is what I want you to fill in the blank with. I want to focus my energy on blank. I'll tell you right now. You've heard some of my stories of doing this the hard way. I want to focus my energy on inspiring others. I want to focus my energy on speaking. I want to focus my energy on getting in front of people and working with them as a coach. I don't want to focus my energy on accounting, Ron.
But sometimes you have to do the things which are hard and necessary that others don't want to do, so tomorrow you can have the things that others don't have.
That's unless you hire someone that loves it.
That is true,
And
to
if
some
you
extent.
love the grind, then one day if it reaches you to your destination, when you get there, you can love that.
You can. There's multiple ways to get to the same destination. So yes, I agree with you. And sometimes when you're doing that, yeah, you're doing what you have to now so you can do what you want to later, but you never lost what you love. The goal's still in mind. Too many times we see business owners get lost and the love is gone. And they're just doing what they have to pay the bills.
And they're working in their business, not on it.
Yes, exactly.
Is the key, I mean, what you're saying is the core focus is that, so it doesn't deny that you have to do some of the
Yeah.
superfluous stuff, but with your other business example, with Facebook and everything, it pulled a ton of your focus to that, right?
Absolutely,
So that's the
absolutely.
distinction.
Well, on the Facebook thing, that was the whole focus, was the Facebook ads. That's what we sold.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. Now, guess what? I still have to do some sales. I still have to do some marketing. I still have to reach out to people. I networked with Ron is why I'm here. But I'm doing what I love. I want to focus my energy on this. And I'm doing this. Those other things were to support me doing this.
So is there a reason you didn't just partner with other people that did the Facebook ads and focus on, 2 services there, or?
There's a lot of reasons, and that's a whole other story for a whole other day. And if you really want to know the details and all the goriness of it all, I will be glad to tell you.
Okay.
And the reality is it was an industry I never wanted to be in on either side, so I should have never been in it. Now E. E is excites others. So, you could love being the best interpretive dancer in the bathtub in the world. If nobody wants to see it, you don't have a business.
That's the negative.
But, here's what I want you to do to fill in the blank for that one. I want to connect with others who blank. You decide what those blanks are. And if you have this in place, guys, the right systems, the right infrastructure, the right mentors, the right people supporting you, something you love and something that excites others, you have a business that is creating miracles in your life. It is simple. It takes work, but it is simple. So let's move on to A number 2. You are now authentic. You are now, and I want you to commit this moment that it does not matter what obstacles come in your business. It does not matter how much money you might make. You will be true to your higher self in decisions you make in your business. Will you commit to that?
Yes.
One person will. Will you commit to that?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. A number 2, accountable. So, I want you to close your eyes and do another quick experiment. Oh, we're doing pretty good on time. Okay, close your eyes. I want you to imagine you are this amazing, powerful sorcerer. You can create anything you want with a thought. You can create the world to be anything you want it to be. You can have everything you want. All you got to do is think it. And you can just transform the world miraculously around you. Now open your eyes. Look around. Look at the world you created. This is the reality. You do create the world around you. I am a huge, huge proponent of the laws of karma. I try to live my life by them. I apply them into my business, into my personal life. I apply them into relationships. Not always successfully, because I'm not perfect, but there's a couple of laws I want to point out to you right now in regards to your business. Law number 2 is the law of creation. And in the laws of karma, it states, you create the world around you with everything you do, you think, you say. But it also states, and this is the part that people are kind of tricky, or find kind of tricky. You attract into your world what you are, not what you want. There's a lot of people, there's a huge metaphysical movement happening throughout the world right now. And a lot of people get into books like The Secret and jump onto the bandwagon of the law of manifestation and how if I just sit here and think about $1 million, it'll magically appear and I don't know how it's going to happen, but it doesn't matter. The reality is it doesn't. Because you attract into your world,
Is that what's happening?
you attract into your world what you are, not what you want. If you are someone who can't really believe you had $1 million, you won't attract it. And I had to learn this lesson the hard way as well. I had a web design and development company in South Texas, very, very successful. I was making well over 6 figures a year personally. I had a huge development center, lots of programmers I got to watch eat burritos and drink Mountain Dew all day long. That's all they do in front of their computers. I don't know how work got done, but it happened. But while I was running this development center, I noticed over and over again, I kept getting clients who wanted to haggle on the price. That was pretty sad. Like, well, what if I traded you a bag of chips? Could I get $1 off? Well, what if I gave you, a free 30-second reading from my cards? Would I get another $1 off? And they would dicker and dicker with the price. And I said, why do I keep finding clients like this? Why can't I find clients that see the value, they're willing to pay it? And I realized what I was doing in my personal life. I was looking for the cheapest shortcut to everything I bought.
Sounds like a good accountant to me.
Perfect. Doesn't work so well in the web design world. I want them to pay more, not less. But I was so unwilling to pay what things were worth because I could get them cheaper. I attracted to me customers who were unwilling to pay what things were worth because they could get it cheaper. You kind of get how that law works? And a lot of it is because you're in that mindset. Like attracts like. Birds of a feather flock together. If you find yourself surrounded by people you don't want to work with, it's time to look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable for why are these people showing up in my life? How am I showing up in my life? Am I really being authentic? If not, I'm responsible. Law number 5 in the laws of karma, and there are 12 of them, by the way. We're not covering all 12. This is way too short a time to do that. But law number 5, this is the law of responsibility. And we kind of talked about mirrors a second ago, but the world around you is a reflection of you. Therefore, you choose to create any world you want around you by who you are, by being responsible for what you feel, think, say, and do. And it is true. It is true that everything you see reflects you. I promise you, and this is one of the reasons I didn't introduce anything about myself. Every one of you right now is seeing in me, in my presentation, something that relates specifically to you. Guess what? None of it may be true about me at all. You don't really know. As every person introduced themselves, I'm sitting here thinking, and it's delicious that I keep proving what I speak about every time to myself. But I'm sitting here thinking, oh wow, I have a lot in common with that person. Or oh, I know how that person thinks. And oh wow, I have a degree in history. I really like how she thinks. Or oh, And guess what? It's just a reflection of me. There's no person in this world like you. That's why there's nothing greater than the power of you. You might think similar to somebody, but it won't be exactly the same. You might feel love for someone that loves you, but I guarantee you how they feel love and how you feel love are very different. Therefore, when you see over and over and over again things in your world that you don't like showing up in people, there's your mirror. Now it's time for you to take responsibility for that in your life, whatever that is. So every thought, every feeling, every action is part of a picture you are drawing of your reality. And we'd like to share a song with you. This is an original that we wrote that kind of talks about that principle. Upside down, a cheer, a frown. The dark, the night, longing to get it right. A path, the day. Draw me a picture of life, one that can show me the way. Draw me a picture of life, then I'll know just what to say. The wounds, the scars, blemishes that make you breathe, bright eyes, warm hearts. Draw me a picture of life, one that can show me the way. Draw me a picture of life, then I'll know just what to say. With every stroke and every line, picture's more clear. Is it beauty on the page, or a demon that you fear? Draw me a picture of life, one that can show me the way. Draw me a picture of life, then I'll know just what to say. The hope, joy, the pieces that make you whole, the loss, the end. thank you, I appreciate it. So, what picture are you drawing of your life? Every word, every thought, every action, every interaction you have puts another stroke in that picture. When that becomes revealed, is it going to be something you fear or something you love? I want you to think about that. You are responsible for drawing your picture of your life and of your business. Okay, third A. This one has been alluded to a lot. And I will tell you a quick little story. So there's another entrepreneur group up at the Salt Lake City Miller campus that I've been involved with off and on for a while now, called Entrepreneurs, Founders, and Leaders 360. And one of their founders has a horrible, horrible time with names. So I have always been Darren or Derek, and every D name you could think of except Daryl. So at one point he decided we're just going to call you Big D. And somebody piped up and said, that's because he's a doer. That's what it stands for. Your third A is action. And I will tell you right now, there is one thing, and one thing only, that separates those that are hugely successful from those that fail. They kept going and kept acting. That's it. They kept doing. You may have the most wonderful dreams in the world. You may have the greatest imaginations. You may have the most powerful ideas. If you do nothing, you get nothing. So yes, be authentic, be accountable, and then take action. And that's where we're going to answer your question, by the way, in just a second. So law number 11 in the laws of karma is the law of patience and reward. This is the law I affectionately like to call the Bon Jovi law. I'll tell you why. So I'm assuming, or maybe I'm assuming wrong, most of you in here are familiar with Bon Jovi. Yes? No? Okay. One of the most famous American rock stars of all time. I'm sure even those of you who are not familiar with the name have heard his songs. They have been repeated and repeated by many people. And Bon Jovi came onto the scene as a young kid. He was in his 20s when he made his big success. Early 20s. Overnight success. This kid is phenomenal. Where did he come from? And everybody assumes he was an overnight success. It's not true. Never true. What he did, starting in junior high, and I do not recommend this to any youth that might ever hear this recording if it's posted somewhere. I am not advocating doing this. But what he did starting in junior high is he would skip school. He would sneak into bars. He would play with bands. So all through junior high, all through high school, he dropped out of high school and kept playing in bands. He wasn't an overnight success. So there is an old formula out there, and I'm not sure where it originated, so I'm not going to try to even guess, that talks about how many hours it takes to be a master at something. Do you know this formula? How many hours does it take to become a master?
10,000 hours.
Yes. Bon Jovi put in his 10,000 hours. He just did it really early in life. He kept doing. Guarantee you, 13-year-old kid that snuck into a bar to play bass on a guitar wasn't rock star status at that moment. The law of patience and reward is this. You get great rewards by putting in patient, consistent effort. And it is true. What that means, and so many times as entrepreneurs, and I know because I am a victim to this over and over again, some amazing, brilliant idea comes in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, you write it down on a napkin, you take that napkin out the next day and say, that's it. I'm going to be this thing, I'm doing it. And a month later, when it didn't work out, you go, never mind, let's go do something else.
You pivoted from that idea.
Yes. I have pivoted from many ideas in my life. But we kind of start with the end in mind, but we get so focused on the end, we forget about the beautiful steps along the way. Right now, everyone in this room is at a different place in their business. Some of you are becoming huge. Some of you are only dreaming that huge could ever happen. And everywhere in between. It doesn't matter where you are. What matters is the step you take now. Absolutely the most important thing is now. So, how many of you have an idea in mind of where you want to be as a company or an entrepreneur? Oh, there we go. Hands went up quickly. See? Entrepreneurs here. There's support group for this, that our mindset, by the way. But can you imagine what success looks like to you? And I just want you to think about these. How much money are you making if you're successful? How big a company are you that you say, yeah, we're successful? How much influence do you have in the industry that would help you say, yes, I'm successful? How much freedom do you have to do what you want that proves to you, yeah, I'm successful? So, with those questions in mind, I want to talk a little bit about past, present, and future, because we seem to do this. We get in these weird ideas that we can only be in one mindset at a time. Some of us get so focused on the past that we're frustrated, we're skeptical, we don't trust people, they're going to take advantage of me, and we get in this depressive, sad funk all the time when things don't work out like they never did. There's your past-focused people. We're going to jump to the future. The future-focused people are always anxiety. Oh, well, when I'm finally making $500, I'll be happy. No, when I'm making $5,000, I'll be... When I'm making $50,000, I'll be happy. Anxiety, anxiety, anxiety. But there is a danger of only being in the present as well that we don't talk a lot about. Those who are only in the present never really think about what's coming, never think about where they've been, kind of live hedonistically. Whatever, doesn't matter, I'll do whatever I want and feel like now, and who cares what the consequences are? You have to be in sync with all three of those mindsets. You have a past for a reason that created in you the why of why you are here today. It created in you the drive, the passion that got you to this seat right here today. You can only act in the present. You can only take the step that's in front of you. I cannot walk out of that door right now until I take all these steps to get there. And if you have no direction for the future, who cares what steps you're taking? When those three are in balance, that's another sign of you being in tune with and true to your higher self. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to imagine you are already at that success we just talked about. You're already making that much money. Your company's already that big. You're already in that many organizations. And imagine it. Close your eyes if you have to. Just imagine that. Feel it. You're there. You've made it. You're successful. How does it feel? What does that look like to you? What is life like? What does it sound like? What do you hear around you? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? To me, it tastes like sushi every day, I was telling you. But so, what I want you to do is get in that imagined state of what it's like to be where you want to be. And you're going to pick a partner next to you that you don't know. Find someone in this room you don't know, and you're going to share that with them. So you three got to split up. Or I guess you four. What?
What are we sharing again?
You are sharing what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like to be where you want to be, where your goal is.
Daryl, I'm not sure we've got time. It's 2:30. We've got things that we'd like to do.
Okay, you give me 5 more minutes? Okay.
So do you want us to sit?
Go ahead. He was all ready to go.
And I think that's a great idea, but we're just kind of short on time.
No worries. Okay, guys.
Sharon?
We're not doing it.
Your challenge is to share that with somebody this week. How about that?
Oh, okay. That works.
I want you to still share that because let me tell you why. Let me tell you why that's important. When you can feel what it's like to be there, and then you express it, you start to create it. And the next step is taking action on it. So, this is what I want you to do. This is the biggest challenge I want to leave you with. Have all of you gotten one of my cards up here?
No, I was gonna
No.
pass them out now.
Okay, I'm gonna have her pass those out to you.
Pass those cards out.
Now, this is what I want you to do. You are going to text me an answer to this question. And my gift to you guys is I'm going to help you with whatever this thing is you text me. What is your next step towards getting to where you want to be? I don't care what it is. If it involves customers, if it involves how do I find the right people, if it involves, well, gosh darn it, I need an accountant. Oh, there's Ron, by the way.
Thank you for the fun.
If, I don't care what it involves, but you need to be in that peaceful state before you text me, my next step is this. I don't care what it is. Every one of you has a different next step right now. And remember, you, with this next step, are creating what you want. So what I want you to do before you answer that question and text it to me, get yourself back in that mindset of this is where I want to be. Imagine you're already there. And imagine yourself looking back on this moment. That person, whether it takes 3, 5, 10 years to get there, what will they have been so grateful you chose to do right now? No matter how difficult it may seem. So, will all of you text me my next step is and answer that question for me? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me be here. I can tell you I am overwhelmed and humbled and grateful.
Just so I want to make sure you pointed out the need versus want in your question asking.
Oh, yes, thank you. This is why I have a partner. So, did you notice in all the questions I asked, I did not tell you to put I need this with a blank? There's a reason for that. Need is a desperate state to be in. If you need it, that means you won't succeed without it. If you want it, that means you're creating from a place of being in tune with your higher self. I want to do this. I need to pay my bills. I want to buy a boat. Which feels happier? So the reality is, whatever you want in your business, you get to create. Thank you guys for having me here. I appreciate it.
Don't forget to turn on the camera.